You learned early that pain makes people uncomfortable. So you hid it. You smiled when it hurt. You laughed when your voice was cracking. And you nodded even when everything in you wanted to scream. I'm not okay. But the moment passed, and no one noticed. Or maybe they did, but they let it go. And something inside you whispered. That's what happens when you let them see it. So you stopped showing. Now, you carry your pain like a secret language. One you speak fluently, but only in silence. You've become so good at holding it all in, that even you forget you're doing it. Not because you're strong, but because somewhere along the way, you started believing, if they saw you bleed, they'd leave. And no one ever told you that this belief is not your fault. It's protection. It's survival. It's the scar tissue of a child who wasn't met with comfort when they needed it most. Because there was a time, maybe many times, when your pain made things worse. When your tears didn't bring help. When your sadness was met with shame. So now, you edit yourself in real time. Before the emotion ever makes it out of your mouth, you're already trimming it down, reshaping it, rehearsing it, or burying it altogether. And when someone asks, how are you really? You feel something tighten inside. Because you want to say it. But you've trained yourself not to. This fear of being seen in struggle is not weakness. It's not vanity. It's not pride. It's grief. Grief for all the moments your struggle was invisible. Grief for the parts of you that learned it was safer to be quiet than to be real. There's a deep, silent part of your psyche that keeps a scoreboard. It remembers every time you reached for comfort and didn't find it. Every time you were vulnerable and were met with discomfort, dismissiveness, or distance. You may not recall it clearly, but your nervous system does. And now, even as an adult, it still whispers, don't let them see, don't fall apart, don't need too much. And so you show up polished. You speak calmly even when your insides are shaking. You help others even when your own hands are trembling. You say, I'm fine, with such conviction that people believe you. Sometimes you even believe you. Until the moment no one's around, and you catch your reflection in a mirror, and it's a stranger looking back. Tired, lonely, trying so hard. The ache you carry is not just about the present. It's about the roles you've had to play for so long. Maybe you were the strong one, the smart one, the fixer, the one who could handle it. Or maybe you were invisible, and you learned that being easy, being low maintenance, was the only way to be loved. This is the identity trap Adler spoke of. The false self we build to earn belonging. We confuse it with who we are. But it's not us. It's armor. And when struggle comes, as it always does, the armor tightens. We panic at the thought of anyone seeing through the cracks. Because if they see us struggle, what if they decide we're not worth staying for? What if they think less of us? What if we think less of ourselves? So we hide, not because we want to, but because the wound beneath says, you'll only be safe if you stay hidden. And here's the cruel irony. The more we hide our struggle, the more alone we feel. But the more alone we feel, the harder it becomes to ask for help. It's a loop, a self-protective prison. You build the walls to feel safe. But then the walls become your cage. And no one knows you're locked inside. Because you've made it look so effortless. So competent. So put together. They admire you. But they don't see you. Not really. There's a particular kind of ache that comes from being praised for the very mask that's suffocating you. The compliments don't feel good. They feel hollow. Because part of you knows they're clapping for a performance, not the person. And if you ever stopped performing, if you ever dropped the act, you're terrified the applause would stop. 2. This fear runs deep, deeper than words. It's the inner child, still scanning every face for danger, still trying to earn love through perfection, still holding their breath, waiting for someone to say, you don't have to do this alone. But no one ever did, or not in the way you needed. So now you've become the one everyone else leans on, the anchor, the stronghold, the one who doesn't fall apart. And you do it well, too well. But every night, when it's quiet, you feel it, the weight of everything you didn't say, the pain you didn't share, the softness you locked away. And you wonder, what would it feel like to be held, instead of always holding? What would it feel like to cry, without apologizing for it? What would it feel like to be loved, even in your mess? That longing, that quiet ache, is the most honest part of you. It's the part that still remembers what it was like to be a child with open hands, before the world taught you to close them. Struggle isn't a flaw. It's not a failure. It's the most human thing about you. But when your struggle was once used against you, mocked, minimized, or ignored, it starts to feel like a liability. You turn your inner world into a carefully guarded secret. You become fluent in pretending, and the world rewards you for it. But deep down, you miss being known. You miss being real. You miss being seen. Not the version of you that's coping, but the version of you that's feeling. That version still lives inside you. Still waiting. Still hoping. You've learned to manage life without being known. But the cost is rising. Exhaustion. Disconnection. That haunting sense of, if they really knew me, they'd leave. But the truth is, you don't need everyone to see you. Just someone, just once, to see the parts of you you've buried, and not look away. Because healing doesn't happen through fixing. It happens through being felt, being mirrored, being held, not just in your strength, but in your struggle. That's how the nervous system learns safety again. That's how the inner child begins to trust. That's how the mask starts to soften. Not through force, not through explanation, just through being gently seen. Maybe today is not the day you show it all. Maybe you're still building the courage to let someone in. That's okay. Start here. With this small moment of recognition. Because if this resonated, if something in your chest just whispered, "That's me," then you're not alone. You're not weak for hiding. You're not broken for struggling. You're not shameful for feeling. You're human, and your struggle deserves softness, not judgment. Let this be a beginning. A crack in the armor. A breath after holding it in for too long. You don't have to collapse. You don't have to explain. Just soften. Just allow yourself to be seen. Even if only by this voice. Right now. And if your eyes sting a little. If your chest feels heavy. If you need a minute to sit with this. Take it. You're safe here. Even in your struggle. Especially in your struggle. If this resonated, you're not alone. Let me know what part felt real to you. And maybe that's the hardest part of all. Not the pretending. Not the silence. But the way it makes you doubt. If anyone could love the version of you that isn't constantly doing well, you've been conditioned to believe that love is something you must earn. That worth is tied to performance. That being easy to love means being easy to handle. And so, struggle becomes a threat, not to your life, but to your identity, to your place in the world, to your right to be chosen. And that's why you hold it in. That's why you lie when you say, "I'm okay," because somewhere along the way, you stopped trusting that your messy parts deserve to be held instead of hidden. But here's a truth that might take years to fully accept. Being human is not a deal breaker. Your tears are not a burden. Your anger is not ugliness. Your fear is not weakness. And your sadness is not shameful. It's just real. And being real is how we reconnect with the part of us we had to abandon to survive. There's a theory in depth psychology that speaks of the shadow. The parts of ourselves we had to exile. Because the world told us they were too much. Too emotional. Too intense. Too sensitive. Too needy. And so we locked them away. Built a life without them. But the cost of that exile is disconnection. Disconnection from our own hearts. Disconnection from others. Disconnection from the truth of what we feel. And that disconnection? It doesn't protect you. It isolates you. It tricks you into thinking that no one could ever hold your truth. Because you've never let anyone try. But the truth is, you've never had to be so alone. You just learned that being alone was safer. That not needing anyone was the only way to survive. So you became hyper-independent, hyper-capable, hyper-competent. But at night, when the world is quiet, when no one's expectations are pressing against your ribs, you feel it again. That ache, that longing, that whisper. I wish someone could see the parts I've been carrying alone for so long. You've been the strong one for too long. The one who never complains. The one who makes it look easy. And maybe it worked for a while. Maybe it got you through the hardest years. But now, that same mask is suffocating you. Because no matter how beautiful the mask, it still hides your face. No matter how strong the armor, it still numbs your skin. And you deserve more than just survival. You deserve to feel, not just joy, not just gratitude, but all of it. The grief you've postponed, the sadness you've swallowed, the fear you've minimized, the shame you've mistaken for identity. It all deserves air. It all deserves light. There's something sacred about allowing someone to witness your softness. Not fix it, not analyze it, just witness it, to look into your eyes and say, you don't have to be anything other than exactly how you are right now. And maybe that someone hasn't come yet. Maybe it's a future friend, a partner, a therapist, or maybe it's you. Maybe for the first time, you get to show, not as the critic, not as T, but as the quiet T. You're allowed to struggle, and I won't abandon you for it. You don't need to perform your healing. Why? You just need to breathe, to allow, to enter a space even if no one sees it, even if, you will know that for one quiet moment, you chose presence over you, and in that choice, something the nervous system sighs, the ch, and the so, for, starts. You've always been told that struggle is something to conquer, to overcome, to get through, but what if struggle is something to be with? To sit beside like an old friend who never left, just got quieter, because you stopped listening. What if your struggle isn't a sign you're broken, but a doorway into your deepest truth? The truth that you've been tired for so long, not just tired in your body, but tired in your soul. Tired of pretending, tired of performing, tired of being strong when all you really needed was to be held. And underneath all that tiredness is a very young part of you. The part you forgot, or left behind. The child who didn't know how to ask for help. Who made themselves small so they wouldn't be a burden. Who learned how to disappear in plain sight. That part still lives in you. Still waits for someone to notice. Still dreams of being allowed to just be. No mask, no role, no need to prove anything. Just be. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is let someone see you when you don't have it all together. To say, without shame or apology, I'm not okay right now. And to believe, even just for a breath, that being not okay doesn't make you unworthy of love. Because real love, real presence, it doesn't show up only when you're polished. It shows up when you're messy. It stays when you're lost. It listens when you're silent. And if you've never had that, if you've only ever known love that demands performance, then of course it's hard to let anyone see you struggle. You're not weak. You're learning a new language. You're teaching yourself safety, slowly, gently, one breath at a time. You don't have to tell the whole world. You don't have to open the floodgates. You don't have to rip off the mask all at once. But maybe, you can loosen it. Let a little air in. Let one part of your truth be seen. Even if it's just in the quiet of your own heart. That's how healing begins. Not in grand gestures, but in small moments of truth. Moments when you say to yourself, I'm hurting, and I still belong. I'm scared, and I still matter. I'm struggling, and I don't have to hide. These are not affirmations. They are reclamations. You are reclaiming the parts of yourself that you exiled to survive. And now, you are inviting them home. You may not trust people easily. That's okay. You've learned to be careful with your tenderness. But there is one person you can begin trusting again. The one inside. The one who has always known. The one who waited patiently for you to come back. Not as the perfect version of yourself, but as the honest one. The one who says, even if no one else understands, I see you, and I won't leave. Because sometimes, healing isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's not something others clap for. Sometimes, healing is sitting in the dark with your own ache and whispering to it. You don't have to disappear to be loved. You were never meant to be invincible. You were meant to be real. And real people struggle. They break. They cry. They get lost. They long to be held. And that doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. So breathe. Let go. Just for a second. No more trying to hold it all together. No more rehearsing strength. No more carrying what was never yours to carry alone. Let the mask slip. Let the guard lower. Let your soul rest. And if no one else tells you this today, hear it now, from the quiet voice within. You don't have to be okay to be loved. You don't have to be strong to be safe. You don't have to be perfect to be seen. Let the struggle be seen, not by everyone, but by you. Start there. And when you're ready, let someone in. Someone who doesn't need you to be anything but exactly who you are. That's how healing begins. Not through advice, not through fixing, but through being seen and staying. So if this resonated, you're not alone. Let me know what part felt real to you.